Alright guys, so I'm here at the beach with the SwellPro splash drone. Now it is a little bit windy and the clouds are kind of coming over, but this is the time I got to do this. So I'm over here in Wailea of Maui and the water looks pretty clear. We got Molokini out there, we got West Maui over there. And you can see that the wind is, you can probably hear it in the mic, it's maybe about 10 miles per hour actually coming from that direction. So this is going to be maybe a little risky, but since I haven't flown it in the ocean yet, but what I'm going to try to do is fly kind of that way close to the shore, do kind of a visual line of sight dunking and stuff while I'm checking out the FPV and recording on the GoPro camera, and then go out a ways and just maybe, you know, look for some whales or something, or that might be the next video, I'm not sure, but we'll see where we get with this one. So anyway, I got everything booted up, and if you missed the kind of like the unbox, I also did a full-on park flight test. Go ahead and check out those videos. I'll have the link down in the description, and also I might have a card pop up here to those videos too. I will have the SwellPro splash drone down in the description of how much this thing costs and where you can get it if you're interested. But anyway, let's go ahead and start this thing up and get flying. All right, cool. So we're ready to go. I got the GoPro recording and everything's in GPS mode. All the switches are up. I can see here on the controller, I don't have my phone right now. I do have this bracket that I use to clamp on my phone for that ground station software. I'm not going to use that right now. I have all the telemetry I can see here on the screen of the controller. This one's cool because you have all this data here. I got 17 GPS satellites and I got all my telemetry data here. So don't really need that phone right now for the ocean test. So let's go ahead and arm the motors. Both sticks to the bottom middle. See how it's going ahead and spinning up the props. So we should be good to go. Let's cross our fingers and go dunk this thing in the water. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is just kind of let it hover right here over the rocks. You can see that wind, it's fighting the wind a little bit. 10 mile per hour coming from this direction, so you know, it is fighting that. So I'm going to pitch the camera down a little bit so that those arms aren't in view. And let's see how this thing does. 20 GPS satellites, so we should be A-okay to do anything we want. So first thing I want to do is really just dunk this thing in the water. So I'm going to walk over here across the rocks, hopefully not slip, and just see what this thing can do if we just go ahead and put it in the water here. Let's see. Okay, I want to make sure everything's good. I can see the FPV really good. I'm just going to drop it down. Let me do a little close first, maybe in this little tide pool, just in case. So right about here, not too close to the shore. Let me go ahead and pitch the camera down so you can see how you can see the ocean really good there with the camera pitch. And all right, coming down on the water. Let's go ahead and drop it in. Okay. Wow, okay, so it's just sitting there on the water. I'm going to hold down on the stick and see if it disarms. Yes, it did. So it's sitting there. Actually, it didn't disarm. The propellers are still spinning. So apparently I can take off at any moment. Let me go ahead and see if I can pitch the camera down. Yeah, so pitching the camera down. Oh, it's kind of trying to come up. And there it is. There's the ocean floor. There's the sand and stuff. What I am noticing is the FPV is having some trouble transmitting from the water. The camera is going to be really good recording in the water there, but you know, if you're expecting it to be perfect in the water and with the FPV, it's not going to be the case. So let me do this. Let me go ahead and yaw. Look at that. So I can yaw while I'm in the water. I'm just kind of yawing around. Let me pick the camera all the way up. Whoop. So it's going to want to come out of the water unless you disarm the motors. I don't want to disarm it. I want to try to maybe fly forward a little bit. So this is pretty cool. I think I'm still in control. Okay, good. Couple swells. That's pretty neat. So it's trying to kind of maintain its height while it's in the water. I'm going to try to bring it back a little closer to us. This is cool. Let me go ahead and go a little closer. Whoop. Go a little closer to the shore so we can maybe get some reef or something. Try to get a little closer. So I'm pushing full stick forward, and you can see how it is coming towards us. I'm not really touching the altitude right now. That's pretty neat, man. I just hope the propeller doesn't fall off. Shouldn't. So there's the reef. So I'm kind of close to the reef, and I'm just checking out the reef here. Hopefully the GoPro is doing a good job at recording all this, which, you know, I will have. Let me go ahead and adjust the tilt. Came out of the water. There we are. Hey guys. So this is pretty neat, man. If you wanted to do like ocean inspections or something, I can see some use for this, or just photography in general. Let's launch back out of the water. So I'm just letting off the stick, just hovering. Let's go ahead and do a full throttle up right now. And look at that. So just launching. Is it dropping a little bit? Just slightly. This one doesn't have the best altitude hold, but it does work pretty good. So check that out. Let's bring it on back real quick. And there we go. So that was a pretty good test. It's kind of going up on its own. We bring the camera down a little bit. So pretty neat, man. Look at this. Pretty darn awesome. So let me do a test where I just kind of slam it in the water kind of hard. So I'm going to go up a little bit, maybe like, I don't know, 15, 20 feet. And then I'm just going to pull all the way down on the throttle stick, see what happens. So pulling all the way down. Yeah, it's just going to gently sit in the water. The props hit the water kind of hard, but they are self-locking. You know what I mean? So it's no damage there. I want to kind of stay away from the reef. So I'm going to go back a little bit. Ah, this is pretty neat, man. Like I said, the FPV gets a little funky when you're in the water. Let me try to get out a ways. Hopefully I have enough power. I do have more batteries. This controller will beep when your batteries are getting low. So let me get out here a ways. You know what? Let's just go ahead and do a pull away downward shot. So I'm full throttle up. Boom. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's just the FPV. I mean the camera all the way down. Just pulling away. Pretty neat there. So I'm just letting off the throttle, and there's our shoreline. You can see the landing gear a little bit because the wind is kind of blowing it. Let's come back down, full throttle down. We got pretty high pretty quick there. So full throttle down, and this is it, just coming down as fast as it can in GPS mode. I'm just going to keep it full throttle down. Move the camera. Actually, I'll just leave the camera pointing down. Let's see what happens when we hit the water. Boom! There we go. There's under the water. Cool. So I'll have the GoPro footage up on the screen while I'm talking here. And let's get out and see some reef out there. It's kind of sandy right here. Let's go out a little bit. There should be some reef right below us here. There we go, adjusting the tilt on the camera again to get it straight. And let me go ahead and see how this looks. I'm gonna point the camera down a little bit. And let's go land over here. Pop. All right, so there we are in the ocean. So my FPV, you can see the screen here, hopefully, in my action cam on my head. Not so great for FPV when you're in the water, but you can still make stuff out a little bit. It's just kind of scratchy. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be the best, but it still does work. So I'm just letting it float. See if we can, it kind of wants to pick up. If I do kind of let off on the altitude stick here, because it's trying to maintain its altitude. So the wave's like kicking it up and it's just like touching the waves barely. Let's go ahead and pick the camera up and so you can see that. So I'm going to let the altitude off, I mean the throttle off, and let's see what it does. The prop should be spinning, it's in the waves. Oh! Okay, it just flipped on its side. Wow. How about that? That was pretty cool. Let me get it back and do that again. That was a little bit dangerous, but it didn't turn off. Wow. So it can handle a little flip over in the ocean. That was cool. Go ahead and straighten out this pitch on the camera here. I'm straightening this out by these, this is the pitch roller here. And this is the, actually this is the roll of the camera and this is the pitch right here. So that's what I'm doing. If the camera does get a little skewed, I go ahead and adjust those with my pointer fingers. So that was pretty neat. Let's see if we can make it flip. I hate to do this here, but I'll jump in if I have to. I've got my surf shorts on. Let me go ahead and nail it in the water. See what happens here. Full throttle in, boom. It flipped over. Wow, it turned itself back up. Look at that. Oh crap, one of the propellers flew off. Okay. Did it? No, one of the propellers did not fly off. Go ahead and arm. Please arm and don't hit the rocks. There we go. Let's get back up if we can. Come on, baby. There we go. Oh my gosh. Woo! It survived that. I thought one of the propellers came off, but it didn't. Holy smokes. It seems a-okay. Looks like the GoPro's got some water on it, but that thing flipped all the way upside down. And it self-righted itself, actually. That was way cool. There's the reef there. Just pointing the camera around. So it looks like if you want to clear your screen, let's see if it'll clear off if we go a little faster and the wind blows on that. Now, let's try another dip. Let's dip it in again. Relaunch. There we go. Our GoPro's a little clearer. Wow, this is pretty amazing. Looking at my voltage, 14.9 volts, so we're still pretty okay. I'm gonna try that again. I'm gonna try to go and run into the water and make it flip over. That was pretty neat. This is some good testing here. Let's say you're filming a surfer or something and you hit the wave. Let's try it. Boom! It completely flipped over. Look at that. It just self-righted itself. Oh. Okay, it's flipping upside down. Uh-oh. Let's flatten it out. Flatten out. Disarm. I'm going to disarm it. So it looks like maybe you want to disarm. If it starts tumbling, did you see that? It was, I let off the stick and it kept like moving around. So disarm and then rearm, both sticks in. Hold it in there. Uh-oh. Please rearm. There we go. Pushing up all the way. Give me some throttle. There we go. Wow, okay. Holy cow. So, pretty impressed. We'll see if there's any water in here when we get it back. Oh my gosh, that was an amazing test there. So say like we're tumbling around in the waves getting some surf footage, you can still relaunch. I'd recommend just try to disarm it so it's not like trying to get all crazy in the water. Pretty amazing, man. Let's see what kind of footage we can get. The only problem here is that the lens on the camera, it gets droplets on it. Maybe I'll try to do some kind of like Rain-X on the lens, you know what I mean? Fly around kind of fast in the water, around the water here, really low. Now this one drops a little in altitude. It's not super locked in its altitude, so you got to be ready on the throttle. So I'm just flying around fast here. Let's see how low we can get. Woohoo! Wow. So you can get some pretty neat close to the ocean footage with this one. Let me make sure my horizon's straight. See how it just kind of went up on its own? It looks like it went up like 10 to 15 feet on its own. So it will do that sometimes, apparently. Don't hear the controller beeping yet for low battery. You know, I will have this flight timed. Let's come in again and get some low and fast footage. Nice. Let's see how that camera's holding up. Okay, so this is maybe what's gonna happen. The water messes with the gimbal, the waterproof gimbal there. And you can see that the horizon line, I'll have that on the GoPro up on the screen, is a little bit skewed. So that's why they let you adjust the roll of the camera manually so you can fix it. Okay, here we go. Let's do some more fast flying. Hee-haw. Low and fast. I don't want to get too far out and slam the water just in case I can't retrieve it. But man, this is pretty cool. Look at this. Woo! Low ocean footage. Wow. Full on turn. Come back in. Let's drop it in the water. Right there. Boom. Nice. Videoing the reef. I can still hold it down a little bit and then yaw. See how I can check it out. Oh, you know what I didn't try? Let me try this. I forgot to try to roll the camera while it was underwater. So let me set it down here over some coral. Pitch all the way down with the camera. See if I can get over this little coral head here. Go forward a little bit. It's not really a coral head. It's kind of some dead coral. But anyway, yawing or rolling the camera. I'm rolling left. I'm rolling right. So you can do that with this this gimbal. Pretty neat, huh? Let's lift the camera. Actually, let me do a launch with the camera pointed fully down. I'm just gonna go forward a little bit. You can fly in the water forward. So camera fully down. Let's do a launch and a pull away. Full throttle up. Woohoo! That's pretty awesome. Now I'm flying just purely FPV over the reef here. Awesome, man. Look at that reef. So just the water droplets, you know, on the GoPro. The only thing here. Beautiful. I wish it was a little more sunny. But it's not bad. Roll the camera up a little. See how her horizon line's off. Let me go ahead and match up the horizon line with my roll on my gimbal. Cool. So I'm just gonna fly this until this battery starts beeping at me. I can't believe it's lasting this long. Maybe the water's cooling it off. Who knows? But I should be hearing some beeping on the controller when it's getting low and it gives you a couple minutes to land. I'm not hearing anything yet. I'm just gonna keep flying, you know? You can get some awesome footage with this. Totally confident at this point with it in the water. You saw the flipping upside down and stuff. Wow, there's a wave. Woo, little swell. Oh, that would be pretty neat if you're if you're like in the water filming some surf and you did that and a wave hit it, you don't even have to worry really. Get my horizon line back. Oh, okay, so I heard a couple beeps, but I think that was the center of the gimbal. These two gimbal levers here, they're gonna beep once in a while when you're in the center. It just kind of helps you know where the center is. So let's just get our horizon back. So this is pretty awesome, man. You know, this is not a cheap little toy drone. This is a fully waterproof, ocean flyable drone. I brought some water just to rinse off the motors and the gimbal motors until I get home and do the full rinse. Okay, so I just heard the controller started vibrating, so it looks like the battery's getting low. Let's see. The battery is at 14.4 volts. You know, we're still fine. This is a 4S, so you never want to get a 4S below like 12 volts or else you'll damage some cells, but this thing will force land way before then. So it kind of went down on its own there. You know, its altitude sensor is fluctuating a bit. There's some more reef. I didn't touch the altitude, it just kind of dipped itself. Let's see if it comes back up. I'm not touching it. So you are going to get that fluctuation, and you know that's due to it's sealed, there's wind. You can't expect super precise hovering with a waterproof drone like this. Wow, so it's still not constantly beeping. You know what I mean? This is 20 minutes. What? Okay, now it's beeping. Do you hear that on the controller? Look at this thing. So you can hear that on the controller. And I'm feeling this thing's got a vibration. Got vibration in it, so I can feel it vibrating in my hands. Know what I mean? While it's beeping low voltage. So let me see if I can land on this box. This may be kind of dangerous, but let's just try it. There we go. Oh, disarm. Both sticks in and out. So look at that. It almost fell off, but I was able to land it on its case it comes with. That was pretty awesome. Cool. So you can hear the controllers beeping. It's just kind of telling me it's low on power. But man, look at that. Look at that successful flight. That was a good line of sight, and hopefully you guys could see some FPV in the screen. I know I'm not recording anything on the FPV, but the GoPro was recording. And okay, so let's do a little pros and cons. So this thing is freaking awesome. Pardon my French, but holy smokes, pretty darn amazing. Now the sun comes out. Okay. Anyway, here we go. Here it is, the splash drone. You can see the GoPro case is a little fogged, so maybe throw some of those anti-fog deals in the GoPro case. But man, what a successful flight. That was pretty darn awesome, man. I have to say, at this point, let me go ahead and open this up and see if there's any water in it. All right, cool. So right when I landed this thing, these two divers over here actually came over and said there's a giant tiger shark right outside of the reef. So that's gonna be pretty cool. If I can go ahead and I'm gonna throw on my FPV goggles, my Fat Sharks. I'll go ahead and record that, and I'm gonna try to go ahead and spot them if I can with this camera. But first off, let's go see if we can see how much water maybe got in here, if any. So I want to make really sure that I kind of get all of the water off of the ridge there, because this is salt water, right? So I want to be really careful. And let's see if there's any water in here, because we have to unplug it from the inside. So let's see what we got. Okay, pulling this thing over, and it's completely dry. Look at that. So I don't see any water in there whatsoever. That's pretty awesome. So, you know, a little bit of water around the edge of the seal there, but there's no water inside the inner part of that seal, and so it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Cool. So anyway, guys, so hope you enjoyed that test. Definitely fully satisfied with this thing so far. No problems, no water. We can run through a little pros and cons right now. Actually, it's got the gimbal. You can see it gets kind of skewed, and that's, you know, that's reasonable. It's hitting the water and it's getting a little skewed, but you can always self-center it with the controls, so not too bad. The only major con is you're going to get water droplets on the front of the GoPro camera, and it seems like a dip in the water kind of remedies that if you can get the water droplets to get off. Maybe I'll be putting some kind of Rain-X on the lens or something just to help the water kind of roll off a little easier. Let's see what else. You can see that this thing was completely flipped over in the water, and it seemed that if you didn't shut the propellers off and it did flip over, it kind of lost its orientation and it kept trying to find its you know, its center, its level, upright, until when you turn off the motors, that's when it would self-right itself. So it seems like the buoyancy, even if it's upside down, it's automatically going to flip eventually and float straight up. So don't have to worry about that. The only problem with that I could see is if you're far out just on the edge of range and you hit the water and it tumbles and you lose your range, maybe because the quad drops in the water and you can't rearm the motors or disarm the motors. That's the only problem I could see. But if it keeps flipping like that in the water, I guess eventually you'll hopefully get range. But everything worked great so far. Super impressed. What I'd recommend doing is going ahead and dousing your motors at least with some fresh water. I'll just put it like right on top, spin them around a little bit, just because what's going to happen is if you live kind of far away, I live maybe, you know, 20 or so minutes from here, you don't want that stuff to start corroding from the salt. So just a little dip before you can get it home and rinse it off really good with some fresh water. Maybe even on the, you know, the camera a little bit and the gimbal motors, you can kind of get some water in there, and maybe even the gimbal a little bit. Kind of get some water in there. This is a 2D gimbal, so any way you can kind of flush away some of the salt is definitely good. It's time to go chase that tiger shark. I think if I find it, I'll go ahead and make another video. So don't forget to subscribe and see if I can find that tiger shark. Alright guys, I do a lot of videos like this, so check out the channel and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.